firsthand the impact the American Rescue Plan will have on our community and small businesses in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, and to see the enthusiasm with which his visit was welcomed. Together, we visited Smith Flooring, a successful minority-owned small business in Chester that provides good union jobs and is an economic driver in an area that has struggled. The President and I spoke with founders Kristen and James Smith about how the COVID pandemic has impacted their business. The struggling economy has meant leaner times, but they're trying to do right by their employees until things get moving again. The American Rescue Plan has over $50 billion in aid for small businesses, including over $7 billion for the Paycheck Protection Program. These funds will help small businesses like Smith Flooring keep up their payroll, protect jobs, and keep going until the economy is fully open again. I wanted President Biden to see up close one of the Delco businesses that is the backbone of our economy. Thank you to Smith Flooring for talking with President Biden and me. And equally important, I wanted to thank Congress and President Biden for bringing renewed help and hope to our community with the American Rescue Plan. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Pennsylvania seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, request unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and revise and extend my remarks.
Gentleman's recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to recognize March as National Red Cross Month. While Red Cross Month has been celebrated since 1943, the Red Cross itself has been making an impact on community health since 1881. In 1889, Claire Barton led one of the first mobilizations to a national disaster following the Johnstown flood. This site is in the process of being preserved today and is known as the Clara Barton House. Perhaps the organization's best-known program, the American Red Cross, established the first nationwide civilian blood donation program in the 1940s. According to the organization, someone in the United States needs blood every 2 seconds. Less than 38% of the U.S. population is eligible to give blood, and only 3% of those individuals donate annually. The critical need for blood and the life-saving potential that comes with a donation cannot be overstated. The American Red Cross has always been a leader in this effort, and today they still provide more than 40% of the blood products in the United States. I'd like to encourage all healthy Americans to donate blood and plasma, and in the wake of the pandemic, it is needed now more than ever. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back the balance of my time.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from the Virgin Islands seek recognition?
I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Gentlewoman's recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This week, House Democrats are building on the progress made under the Biden-Harris administration to reverse the Trump damage and reform our failing system by passing two historic and important bills. H.R. 6, the Dream and Promise Act, to protect dreamers, TPS, DED recipients, and the Farm Workforce Modernization Act to uphold the dignity of workers who feed America. Americans want solutions on immigration. Voters overwhelmingly support a path to citizenship, reforms to our legal immigration system, smart management of our borders. Just like the American Rescue Plan, there is strong bipartisan support for immigration reform across the country, just not within this body. For too long, we have kept our arms closed to people who, under similar circumstances, 100 years ago, 30 years ago, would have been given a path to citizenship. But now the doors are closed. 55,000 Haitians came to this country after the earthquakes. They are in limbo. Congress must act, and these two overwhelmingly popular common sense bills will ensure that immigrants who make America more American can continue to strengthen, enrich, and contribute to our country.
For what purpose does the gentleman from New Jersey seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Gentleman's recognized for 1 minute.
I am here today to recognize an outstanding 10-year-old girl from Sea Isle City in South Jersey. Reagan Capone is already an engaged member of her community and frequently fundraises for local charities. Last year, Reagan raised over $6,000 for the Love of Linda Cancer Benefit Horse Show. Reagan is now raising money for her Uncle Mike's Seafood Polar Bear Run, Walk for Autism. Aside from fundraising, Reagan is a competitive equestrian and competes in the English circuit of South Jersey. She even made it to the regionals this year. Reagan is a dedicated individual who impacts the South Jersey community every day with her selflessness and her desire to raise awareness for the causes that are so close to her heart. Thank you, Reagan. You are truly an American hero for all that you do. God bless you, and God bless America, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields. For what purpose does the gentleman? For what purpose does the gentleman from Maryland seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I ask for unanimous consent in order to address the House for 1 minute, revise, and extend my remarks.
Gentleman's recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. After spending most of my life in the business world, I've seen firsthand how immigrants bring immense contributions to the American business. Whether it's a CEO of a Fortune 500 company or the frontline worker that has kept our workers safe during the COVID-19 pandemic, immigrant workers, entrepreneurs, and leaders drive our economy. Immigrants bring revolutionary new ideas to our country. Immigrants create jobs. Immigrants inspire innovation and pushes us forward as a country, keeping us on the cutting edge of technology and medical advances. As a speaker often says, diversity is our strength, unity is our power. Immigrants bring their diverse experiences and ideas to our country, to our economy, and make it better. Our nation would be foolish to take them for granted. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Indiana seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I seek unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Gentleman's recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, today I rise to honor the farm broadcaster Gary Truitt. Gary was inducted into the National Association of Farm Broadcasting Hall of Fame for his outstanding work and commitment to delivering informative and insightful news to our nation's farmers. I want to offer my congratulations to Gary for this remarkable achievement and to celebrate his dedicated career. Gary began his farm broadcasting career in 1981, bringing a fresh perspective to the industry, and in only a few years he began his own news broadcast, which soon dominated Indiana radio. In 2006, he did it all over again after a corporate sale of his first network and created Hoosier Ag Today. For more than 33 years, Hoosier farmers have relied on Hoosier Ag Today for latest news about the condition of the agricultural industry and markets. It's hard to find someone who puts his whole heart into everything that they do. Gary is one of them. I wish Gary many more years of success, and with that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields. For what purpose does the gentleman from New York seek recognition?
Yes, unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Gentleman's recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have rarely heard such pernicious nonsense as we heard from the minority leader a few minutes ago. He accused Mr. Swalwell of having a Chinese spy or Chinese agent in his campaign. I understand he's introduced a resolution to remove Mr. Swalwell from his committee for that purpose. The fact is we all have hundreds of people in our campaigns, hundreds of people. Can we vouch for any of them? Do we know everybody's associations? Do we know whether someone in the campaign is a spy or a thief or whatever? Do we do a police investigation, an FBI investigation of every member of our campaigns? That's absurd. And I think Mr. McCarthy ought to be ashamed, because he is an experienced campaigner, he knows this, for raising these spurious allegations. I yield back.
Gentleman yields. For what purpose does the gentleman from North Carolina seek recognition?
To request unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Gentleman's recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I rise to observe the recent, almost simultaneous passing of three prominent members of the Lumbee tribe and citizens of Robeson County, North Carolina. Mr. Laricus Lowry, Mr. Paul Brooks Sr., Mr. Wybus Oxendine. These men displayed great fidelity to this important community in our 9th District of North Carolina throughout their lives. Mr. Laricus Lowry dedicated 50 years of his life to Robeson County, serving 41 years as the president of the Robeson County Farm Bureau. Mr. Paul Brooks Sr. spent many years as a public servant to Robeson County, including being elected as the 4th chairman of the Lumbee tribe. Mr. Wyvis Oxendine leaves behind over 20 years of devotion to his community, which includes stints as a county commissioner, magistrate, and educator. These 3 men take their leave from us at almost the same time and leave behind an indelible impact on our community. I honor them for all they have done, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields. For what purpose does the gentlewoman from New York seek recognition?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I seek unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Gentlewoman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to recognize Bryce Sinclair, a senior at Maine Enwell High School in New York's 22nd District. I'm honored to announce that Bryce accepted his appointment to join the Corps of Cadets at the United States Military Academy at West Point, New York. Bryce was selected among a highly competitive pool of applicants from around the country. Bryce's decision to attend West Point comes as no surprise to those who know him well. He is a young leader with exceptional talent and potential and is already a dedicated member of our community. I wish to congratulate Bryce on his tremendous honor. I wish him the best as he takes on this venerable challenge to serve our community and our nation in line with the Army's core values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, and personal courage. As the mother of a Naval Academy graduate, the service academies hold a special place in my heart, especially the friendly annual rivalry at the Army-Navy game. We wish Bryce all the best as he moves closer to his next incredible step to joining the Corps of Cadets. Good luck, Bryce, and go Army and go Navy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Iowa seek recognition?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask for unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and revise and extend my remarks.
Gentlewoman's recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was going to ask for 1 minute yesterday, given that it was St. Patrick's Day, and Pella Dutch High School is the color of green, but they're the Pella Dutch, not the Pella Irish. Last Friday, the Pella High School Dutch of Marion County, Iowa, successfully completed their playoff run by winning the 3A Iowa Boys Basketball Championship. Capping off a terrific 26-2 season with a 15-1 conference record, the Dutch brought home the state championship for the first time in 18 years. The achievement of winning a state title itself is something of which the Dutch team and the Pella community should be proud. But these players and their families should be even more proud of their commitment to game, perseverance, sportsmanship, and teamwork that guided them through this incredible season. For the seniors, I hope you continue to follow your passions in basketball and elsewhere beyond high school. For the juniors and underclassmen, I wish you the best of luck in the coming years, both on and off the court. I am thrilled for this team, the coaching staff, fans, and the entire Pella community, and I'm honored to represent them in Congress and speak about them on the House floor. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield back.
Gentlewoman yields back. The chair lays before the House a communication. The clerk will read.
The Honorable the Speaker, House of Representatives, Madam, pursuant to the permission granted in Clause 2H of Rule 2 of the Rules of the U.S. House of Representatives, the clerk received the following message from the Secretary of the Senate on March 18, 2021 at 11:08 a.m. that the Senate passed with an amendment, H.R. 1276. Signed sincerely, Cheryl L. Johnson.
For what purpose does the gentleman from New York, Mr. Nadler, seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to House Resolution 233, I call up H.R. 6, the American Dream and Promise Act of 2021, and ask for its immediate consideration.
The clerk will report the title of the bill.
H.R. 6, a bill to authorize the cancellation of removal and adjustment of status of certain aliens and for other purposes.
Pursuant to House Resolution 233, the amendment in the nature of a substitute consisting of the text of Rules Committee Print 117-4 is adopted, and the bill as amended is considered read. The bill as amended shall be debatable for 1 hour, equally divided and controlled by the chair and ranking minority member of the Committee on the Judiciary or their respective designees. The gentleman from New York, Mr. Nadler, and the gentleman from Ohio, Mr. Jordan, will each control 30 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from New York, Mr. Nadler.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members may have 5 legislative days in which to revise and extend their remarks and insert extraneous material on H.R. 6.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself 2.5 minutes.
Gentleman's recognized.
Mr. Speaker, H.R. 6, the American Dream and Promise Act of 2021, is vital legislation that establishes a path to lawful permanent resident, or LPR status, for 2 critically important populations that are in dire need of protection. The DREAM Act creates an earned path to LPR status for Dreamers, individuals who entered the United States in their youth and who have lived here for most of their lives. Dreamers are part of the fabric of our nation, aptly demonstrated by their commitment to bettering our strength through the pursuit of education, military service, and employment. It is undeniable that Dreamers enrich our nation. They are our neighbors and coworkers, they are classmates with our children, and they serve our military with distinction. They are an essential part of our communities, where they contribute to our thriving economy and make America a stronger, more united, and more diverse nation. Similarly, the Promise Act provides a path to LPR status for individuals who either held or were eligible for temporary protected status, TPS, as of January 1st, 2017, or deferred income departure, DED, as of January 20th, 2021. TPS is a form of humanitarian relief provided to individuals from countries experiencing dangerous conditions and crises. DED is like TPS, but it is derived solely from the President's constitutional powers to conduct foreign relations. Like Dreamers, TPS and DED recipients are essential to our communities. Many of them have lived in the United States for decades. They make up a significant portion of the workforce in key industries, including construction, food service, and home health care. They contribute to the U.S. economy not only through their work, but also through consumer spending and tax revenue, and they have been particularly essential in serving our country during the COVID-19 pandemic. I have no doubt that some of my Republican colleagues will stand before us today and use what they claim is a crisis at the border as an excuse not to support this bill. But let's get one thing straight. This legislation is not about the border. This legislation is about finally delivering on our promise to America's dreamers and others who are equally deserving of our protection. I want to thank my colleagues Lucille Roybal-Allard, Nydia Velasquez, and Yvette Clark for their commitment to this important legislation and to the millions of people this legislation will protect. I hope that all my colleagues will stand up for them when it truly counts and will support H.R. 6 today. I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman from New York reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentleman's recognized.